Hello and welcome to Rock Tools Expert Panel live session. We are here today at Sandviken, or in Sandviken, Sweden, at Rock Tools headquarters. Sandviken is located approx 2 hours north of Stockholm.
Yes, thank you, Petter. That's correct. Hi, everyone. Great to get started. As always, safety first. Safety is our first priority. So we hope that all of you out there, wherever you are safe and healthy. And as you can see here, of course, all our participants, the experts and also the crew at site are keeping a safe distance.
And we are, of course, looking forward to great discussions with you all. And please take the opportunity now to interact with our experts here today. And speaking about interact, how do you interact with us, Pernilla?
Yes, Petter, good and relevant question, of course. It's very simple. You can either ask your questions to us right here in the chat in the platform, or you can email us your questions. And email is askrocktools@sandvik.com. So either chat or email.
And please let us introduce our experts for today's session.
Yes, Rickard Andreasson, Product Line Services.
Nina Oxman, representing Global Operations.
Hi, Maria Hugosson from Sales.
Robert Grandin, Top Hammer Tools.
Marie Lundbäck, Cemented Carbide Development and Power Carbide.
Hi, Shumin Zhang, Lottery Tools.
Hello, Tommy Persson, Down the Hole Tools.
Thank you, Tommy. And on link from Stockholm and Newcastle in Australia, we have from Stockholm, Jens.
Hi there, Jens Holmberg here. So I'm the president of the Rock Tools division of Sandvik Mining and Rock Technology. So probably the only non-expert here on the call today.
Well, you are expert, and then we have one expert from Newcastle, Australia.
Good afternoon, Bradley Darlington, Bolting.
Thank you, Bradley.
Thank you. Okay, so as said before, Petter, we have shared our email address, askrocktools@sandvik.com, and we have already received quite a lot of questions there. So let's get started with the first question, Petter.
Yes. So we actually have a question here for Jens. Do you see any contradiction or potential trade-off between productivity and sustainability?
All right, thanks, Peter. Good question, and obviously something that in the preparations of our presentation this morning, together with Nina, discussed quite a lot. I think in general, when we look at productivity and sustainability and the way we work on addressing that with our customers, there are very few trade-offs or contradictions. If you focus on being more productive, by default, you would also be more sustainable. However, I think when we look internally, there might be some cases where they would be a trade-off. Nina made me aware of one where we would look at the sourcing of steel, for example. If we would choose more expensive steel produced with green energy, or we would produce a less expensive steel produced with not so green energy. There could be a trade-off, but I think the cases where there is a trade-off and where there is a contradiction, there are very few. And that's why I think, I look at a bright future where we will be able to solve the climate challenge that we have ahead of us.
Thank you, Jens.
Thank you. Okay, so we have another question that has come in, and this is for down the hall. So, Tommy, I saw the presentation of the new generation hammers. How is it possible to effectively run a 6-inch hammer on a 5-inch rig?
Interesting question and complicated to answer in a short period of time, but I'm going to try. Everything is about energy efficiency and find the right formula of the hammer. I mean, if we're looking on a DTH hammer, in one end you have input energy, which in forms of compressed air, and you have output energy in form of striking power. To find the right formula, to find the right way to increase the energy efficiency of that hammer, you're going to get savings. How you utilize these savings can be done in different ways. To come back to the questions, I mean, how it is possible. Yeah, if you increase your energy efficiency of the hammer, you need less input power to drive it in the same way. And that's how you can utilize a smaller size drill rig with a less compressor package on. So basically do more with less. Another way, even if you have a drill rig already, a 6-inch rig, you're going to save fuel because you have a more energy efficient hammer. And I think around 40,000 to 45,000 liters per year on a DI 650 if you have a hammer which is 10% more, 10 to 12% more energy efficient. So that's another saving. And on top of all these savings you can find, the CO2 emission going to be way much lower as well. So you have an environmental impact in this as well. But that's the short answer. I could talk way much longer, but I think I'm stop here.
Yeah. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you.
So next one to Xiuming. When and why would I use a shock absorber?
Thanks, Peter. It's really a good question since a lot of people think shock sub or shock absorber is only an expensive and optional tool on the full jaw stream. But to my understanding, and I would think shock absorber is a compulsory tool on the jaw string. Just think about when you ride a bicycle and without a tire on it, and then you run the steel wheels on the ground. Even it's on a smooth ground, you will still feel uncomfortable. So when we drill in the hole, since a lot of energies goes through the jaw string down to the bits, cutting the rock, and the shock vibrations are generated from these cutting actions that will be transferred back to the rotary head of the jaw rig, which would cause the harm on the rotary head and also will cause the uncomfortable feelings of the operators. So to the question, I would think the shock absorber is suitable for all the drilling applications to mitigate and reduce the shock vibrations. So that can be done by the special design in the shock absorbers by the unique cushion system. That can greatly reduce the shock vibrations to extend the tool's life, to reduce the maintenance cost, and of course to increase the jaw rig operators' comfortability when they operate the rig. So to the question, I would think the shock absorber is suitable for all the drilling operations, and there are a lot of benefits to use it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Xiuming.
Thank you. Okay, next question. And it's regarding our hard materials. So I think I direct this to Marie to start with, but maybe more of you will add to this. What is your power carbide?
Okay, so what is the power carbide? Actually, it's not one grade. Power carbide, it's a gathering of our most powerful carbide grades. And I'd say that we like to refer to this like the power carbide toolbox, because these are the development of the cemented carbide, and we're taking it to the next level, where we want to be able to offer our customer both hardness and toughness. And that's why we gather these grades in this power carbide toolbox. But I think that there are many reasons for us that we have these power carbides. We have the team, the development team in Stockholm. We also have close collaboration with the SMS and Coromant. And we also have our dear colleagues in Austria who produce the very important component tungsten carbide. You also have cobalt, but the tungsten carbide is produced in Wolfram Bergbau, which is also part of Sandvik. And they have really good control over their processes. They have fantastic furnaces. They don't let anyone in there. I've been here there once and they didn't have to kill me. I'm very happy for that. But they have really good control and they can offer us the type of tungsten carbide we would like, the size, the shape, anything. And after that, we produce powder also within Sandvik, is the SMS part of Sandvik. And finally, the powder comes to our production site in Stockholm, and it's next door to our R&D team. So we can just go over there and do some prototype or X orders for you, for example. Very fast, Robert. And so I think this is also an enabler that we have been able to do these power carbides. And we believe that these power carbides can actually improve the operations for our customers, whether it's, service life or drill speed, or that depends on what the customer is after. But also, as we listened to this morning from Nina and Jens, also the safety and sustainability is an important part of this. So I think the power carbides can contribute to a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Marie.
Thank you, Marie. Nina, regarding supply, we have a question here. What trends and improvement areas do you see that will impact your supply chain going forward?
Thank you for that question. So we are focusing a lot on how we can improve our sales and operational planning process and how we can become more effective at capturing the market demand and also act on it quicker. So we're looking into data analytics and digitalization to help that, but also our working processes. And of course, that comes down to also how we want to integrate with you, our customers, to better understand consumption data from the field. Digitalization and smart factories is also an important part of the visions that we have in place for our factories that are already highly automated, but where we want to take the next steps. And we are gearing up, let's say, to improve the speed of innovation in our manufacturing and supply chain, and we're doing that by building the right ecosystem around us with the right partners to collaborate with, both academia, customers, other relevant partners, investing a lot in diversity and inclusion, and improving our competencies and resources within sustainability, as this is an area where we have a very exciting journey ahead of us.
Thank you, Nina. Thanks.
Great. Okay. Next question is bolting. So Bradley on the link. How does the MDX dynamic performance vary with different ground conditions?
That's an excellent question. Thank you, Pernilla. So in the last 2 to 3 years since we've developed the MDX, we've tested across 10 different mine sites across the world with varying ground conditions between what would be considered soft with 30 MPa UCS to what is a hard, so 250 MPa. So quite a wide range. And across all of those mines, if you lay the data on a common graph, you can't pick the different ground conditions. So the videos in the booth really well demonstrate this. There's very little variation between different ground conditions, which is one of the things that makes the MDX a universal bolt. So it's applicable to both extremely soft conditions and the extremely hard seismic conditions.
Thank you, Bradley. We know it's late in Australia, so thanks for staying up for us and the viewers.
Pleasure.
Thanks.
So let's see what's coming in here. Rickard, if If we will use track for data capturing and processing, who is responsible for the implementation of the possible findings?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So what track does is really you capture a lot of data and put it into a easy and readily format. And by doing that, we're going to share the dashboard with the customer, and we're going to look at it internal through all the supply chain and with our experts as well. So yes, I think it's a co-effort to drive the productivity up and the cost down for the customer. So I would say it's in both interests. We can't do it without the customer's willingness to change sometimes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And I think that's the way we are working. Close to our customers, having service people at the site, taking joint responsibility for the findings we get and implementing the action and follow through.
Yes. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
Can I comment there?
Yes, please,
as well?
Jens, go ahead.
So I totally agree with what Maria and Rickard said. Without having a partnership in place, obviously you won't be able to make any sustainable change or improvements in your operations. But I think the benefit of having a tool like Track is that you can be much more surgical in where you need to focus on and where you need to put in efforts in order to drive the improvements. You can, by analyzing the data, see, where is the cost of drilling increasing? Is it on a particular drill rig on a particular point in time? And use that to do more with less. So you can use the manpower that you have to really drive improvement that matters.
Thank you, Jens.
Thanks.
It's a topic that everyone is really engaged in, and thanks for sending in all these questions.
Yes, great. Okay, next one is top hammer. So Robert, what is the service life of your Autobit?
Okay, the service life of the Autobit. So I assume that they want to know what the service life is compared to like a standard drill bit in this application. What can be said about the Autobit is that it is designed to deliver a very long first grinding interval. So you put it in as new, and then you get a very long first grinding interval in order to be able to automate over shift changes. That is what it is designed to do. And how it does this is that it drills very well, although it's very worn. So that first grinding interval is often twice as long on an Autobit as it is on a normal bit. But then it is also very worn. So this is not really what you would say the optimal way of using a bit if you want to squeeze out every single meter out of it. But stating that, if you use it the first grinding interval, you use it in auto mode, it becomes very worn, but you still will be able to get something like roughly the same service life as you would from a normal drill bit. If you used it like a normal drill bit, you maybe have 1/3, 40% wear flats on the buttons and then reground it and used it like that. I'm pretty sure you could squeeze out 25-30% more meters from an Autobit than you would from a standard bit, but that's not really what it's designed to do.
And I can perhaps also mention that in this Autobit, it's really cool. You have the self-hardening grade, and that's one of our power carbide grades. And there we use the benefit. We have enhanced the strain hardening effect in this one, and therefore you had been able to make this more aggressive and really fit to this type of application. So
yeah, absolutely. Because if you want to get a very long grinding interval, then it's very beneficial if your buttons have a large protrusion, so that you can wear down the length of the button a lot and still have something protruding from the steel body. And of course, if you have a big protrusion, then you also have very big forces on that button. So then the carbide comes into play a lot.
Right.
Thank you. Robert, back to you again. We have a question here also from the chat board. Hi, I want to know how long it lasts, the power carbide, and why it's not implemented in Peru yet.
Good question.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Thank you very much for that one. The power carbide, we usually say that the SH70 or the GC80, you can't really say which one is going to work where. I mean, sometimes one of them is working perfectly and in other sites the other one is working perfectly. But some kind of average results we're getting is 20 to 30% longer service life than a standard like XT48 carbide type of bit. So it's definitely an advantage. And then you see the same effect in the grinding interval as well, which is then improving the safety and also reducing the costs for regrinding in a mine. But then as for Peru, I suggest you talk to your local Rock Tools TSSRs in Peru, and we'll set up a trial in your mine and prove that it works for you as well.
But Robert, you can take a look in this question in the chat board, and you can make a contact.
Yeah, absolutely. I can contact my friends in Peru and make sure that they contact you, and then we'll make sure that we set up something.
Yeah. Thank you, Robert.
Right, good. Okay, Maria, a question here for you. So, Sandvik Rock Tools is one of the most expensive supplier on the market. Why should we buy rock tools from you?
Good question. Thank you very much. Yeah, expensive. That's of course depends what you compare with. So I would like to put it a little bit like in perspective. If you look on the total spend of a mine, I guess roughly 5% is what of the drilling cost is the rock tools share of it. But what we see is that the impact that the rock tools play on the total drilling economy is huge. And of course, then you can play with many parameters. You have like the cost per meter, of course. What is how can you save with longer lives, and how can you drive that economy? And that's one perspective. Then, of course, the other one, if you bring the productivity, like how quick can you drill and how long will your tool last? And then you, of course, can play with that. How can we either support you in if you want to keep the same capacity by parking up some rigs, lower your fuel cost and the cost for labor, or if you would like to get more mines out, more metals out of your mine and then support your income, then you can of course use this capacity to drill faster and drill more. So I would say that with rock tools, we would like to work with you. Coming back to what also Rickard talked about, like how can we understand where you are? How can we support you to meet your targets? And how can we get the most out of your mine site by working together? Find the right tools, carbides, whatever, and also have some skin in the game. I think we are willing to commit to support you in lowering your cost with 10%. We are willing to commit to that, and by working together, we are sure and we have the confidence with the products we have and with the services that we are able to meet up with that. So please contact us, and we will prove to be the partner for you to support you in reaching your target. And if not, we have a work and we will take on the challenge to make that happen for you.
Thank you, Maria.
Can I dip into that as well, Peter?
Yes,
please.
Go ahead.
I think I just want to re-emphasize what Maria mentioned in the end there, that we can make claims that you should not only look at unit prices, you should look at your total drilling cost, and if you do that, you will see that we are the most cost efficient or productive rock tool supplier that you could get. That is definitely what we believe and what we work on day in and day out. But in order to prove that, in order you feel confident that we can walk the talk, we are prepared to take that risk and to share that risk with you. If we if we are not proving that we are the most cost efficient or productive supplier, we do not deserve your business. So we are definitely all about deserving your business, and that's lowering your total drilling cost and increasing your productivity. So.
Okay, thank you, Jens. Stay there. I see a question to you, and thanks,
I'm staying right
Maria. Jens, a question, of course, is the same in the earlier session we had today. It's coming a couple of questions regarding the COVID-19 situation. So here is one I would like to address to you. How have you adapted to the COVID-19 to maintain the service to us?
There's no doubt that we've had a lot of challenges during spring and during the summer as well. But I believe that when looking back at it, I'm really surprised and I'm super proud of how we've been able to show agility and been able to serve in the majority of cases, I'd say, with just a few exceptions, all of our customers, despite facing plant closures and disrupted supply lines and so on and so forth. That I think that could only be possible with the close cooperations that Nina and her global operations team have had with the sales team out there and together with you as customers, sharing information and being able to plan and adapt to constant changes. Also, I mean, we've been able to cope, but I think it's been too close in some instances, and we have now collected some long-term improvement areas and learnings that we want to work on and address to make sure that we do not come as close next time around. And obviously hoping that we will not have a next time around, but anyhow, we should be prepared for it.
Yeah, understand.
Can I add to that, Peter?
Yes, please, Nina, go ahead.
A little bit on how we adapted the supply chain during the peak of the pandemic. So one thing that Jens mentioned is right, that we were able to stay very close with our sales teams to understand how demand was varying at our customer sites. And we have a strength in being a very decentralized organization. So our regional planning and logistics teams were able to take the right decisions at very short notice when things changed in terms of freight lanes or border closures. So we were able to get the inventory to the right location on time. And then, of course, we had some buffer already in terms of global inventory that we could redistribute and work with in our transport lead times. So by understanding where the urgent needs were, we were able to expedite the right orders to the right time, potentially then by using air freight instead of sea freight. And our global production network is relatively flexible, so we were able to shift significant production volumes between factories to make sure that we could still produce throughout the period when some of our factories were closed. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, Jens. Well,
Yeah.
Pernilla, the time flies.
Yes, it does. Yeah. So we would like to say thank you to all the viewers for watching and also for your good contribution and your interesting questions. And if you didn't have an answer to your questions during this live session, of course, we will answer it in the chat or via email afterwards. And then, of course, we also want to say thank you to all our fantastic colleagues here and also online, of course. We couldn't have done this without you.
And to you viewers, of course, if you would like to hear more from these experts, you can join the next live session that will be tomorrow. So please check out the agenda and when the next broadcast is. And don't forget to also to hear some of these experts, but also some of our other colleagues having great presentations in the Rock Tools Virtual Booths section.
Yes, thank you, Petter. Jens, any last words from you?
Sure. First of all, thanks to you two for taking us through a great expert panel, and thanks to all the experts. And then a big thank you to all of you tuning in and asking many interesting questions. What I'd like to conclude on is to say what you heard here today, I think is building on what we started out with, saying that there is really a close link between sustainability and productivity. So I heard many interesting examples where definitely sustainability and productivity go hand in hand, and I think that's something that we should build on and further enhance as we go forward. Sustainability and productivity.
Thank you, Jens.
Thank you. Again, thank you all, and please remember, with Rock Tools, you'll never work alone.
Stay safe.